Hey there everyone, Hi Council, this is Chris, the Primogen, and I'm here to do basically the first of what I hope is going to be a semi-regular kind of deep dive into the comment section of my videos, because as you might have noticed, I've kind of slowed down a bit in terms of commenting. Pardon me, I'm still recovering from a cold. But I really do read all the comments. A lot of times I'm just like, I don't really know how to respond to them. So this time I figured I will just go through them and read them and basically respond. So I'll try to read every comment. I might not have a lot to say about every comment. I really do appreciate all of you. We'll see how far we get. I have set myself a hard deadline on an hour for this. So we'll see how deep we can go. I unclicked that I haven't responded to yet because I figured might as well go through those as well. All right, I don't have desktop audio on. That's good because I'm getting emails every now and then from work. Doing this during my lunch break, basically. So, yeah, let's, pardon me again. Let's dig into this, and hopefully the music is not too loud in the background. Figured I'd have that running so you and I have something else to listen to as well. So, let's get started. All right, there we go. So, first comment is from Thomas Kelly. This is on my latest video, The Prince, by the way. I'm going to date myself a little bit. This is Friday. It's Friday the... That's my cat in the background. Friday the 4th. That's what it is. Yes. So, I thoroughly enjoyed this video. Thank you. As a big fan of the clan novel saga, it's a little annotation there. I especially appreciated the mention of Marcus Vittel. In the decades since their publication, I have gleefully returned to the saga a number of times, and whatever supporting books I could find. I go the various trilogies. All right. Okay. That's a bit of a long comment here. Pardon me. I've even long fantasized of seeing the saga recreated on the screen. In essence, a long-running series, though the Iron Spelling debacle has disabused me of even considering any live-action iterations. The way thought anime might work well, visually speaking, more Ergo Proxy and less Cowboy Bebop, in my opinion. I think if any time is ripe for a good Vampire the Masquerade series, that would be now, in my personal opinion. It wasn't until Arcana was released that I truly saw the wonderful potential. Arcane, sorry, not Arcana. Arcane is the League of Legends animation, I think. I'm not entirely sure if I would agree that an animated Vampire the Masquerade series would be better. I think live action would actually work. There are some Marvel live action series, Luke Cage, and those associated series I actually really enjoy. I think those are some of the best Marvel material. Fortunately, they've kind of left that stuff behind in favor of more family-friendly shows, I think. But that kind of stuff would actually really work. Anyways, despite my general optimism, I'm also a realist. I shall remain within the walls of my imagination, and at least I still have that. But a fella can still dream. Could have maybe phrased this a little bit shorter. Sorry. Like many, I've played tabletop role-playing games since my early teens, as the start of the 80s. Oh, wow, that's early. AD&D and Gamma World with Traveler and Call of Cthulhu being my go-to games. But as I got older, I found fewer opportunities to play. Around the mid-90s, I eventually introduced my daughter to such RPGs when she was about 7 or 8, utilizing the Star Wars universe. It's a good game. I believe that's the West End Games version, right? She took to it like a water-dwelling creature takes to well water. She has since co-founded a successful tabletop gaming company, one which has since obtained the licensing for a major IP. Wow, that's cool. That's really cool. I'll read these annotations later. Sorry, that's really cool though. Congrats. Give her my regards. Then Vampire the Masquerade was introduced. I was immediately captivated and consumed by the lore. Thankfully, I was able to play a number of sessions one particular winter, but eventually the group dispersed as they do. Happens, and we lost touch, as one does. But I was completely enamored with the World of Darkness, so while I was unable to actively play over the years, I still purchased books and supplements. Oh, actively play, comma. Over the years, I still purchase books and supplements. Commas are important, folks. Don't forget to read them. Ever impressed with much of the character and world building found within. I apologize for my terribly verbose nature. Don't worry about it. I have the problem too. I fear talk to text makes it all too easy. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I sometimes do talk to text as well when I text people. I simply wish to say I find videos like this to be such a treat. Again, thank you for creating and sharing these truly delightful videos. Thank you very much for watching them and enjoying them. The Prince video that I just released is not by far one of my better videos, I have to say, but I needed to get something out. I'm very happy to see the results so far and happy that people enjoyed it. I guess this is essentially my way of saying your videos are an oasis in the desert. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's plenty of other content creators out there making good vampire content, though. I do believe most of my follows on the Primogen, which I think are public, should be content creators doing vampire. And if you are a content creator making vampire Masquerade videos or World of Darkness videos, let me know, and I will follow you as well. I like to... That was my cat coming up on my desk. I like to... I think his tail's going to pop in here any second now. Yeah, there we go. So if you do make any kind of Vampire the Masquerade content, I will happily have you on my following list. Subscribing list, that's what it's called. Though an ardent reader, I admit I was also a bit of a snob when it came to books spun off from the IPs. However, I found myself absolutely thrilled and honestly surprised by the quality of writing I discovered within the clan novel saga and associated stories. Our tastes may differ slightly. Not a huge fan of the novels. I first read the 13 individual paperbacks, but the 4 large chronological volumes are much preferred. I've heard they're good. I remember Harry read the first part of the compilation, was very confused. I think they're very, very much a product of the 90s. I don't think in 2020s they stand up quite as well, but I might be wrong. Personally, I found them easy to read at least, and a good introduction to the setting, even if some of the authors were a little bit iffy on the lore. Just prior to the official RPG release from the West End Games, right? That's the one, yeah. Oh, right, yeah, yo, this the starting box of Star Wars. That's a really good role-playing game, by the way. I love that one. Where you're on a planet that gets attacked by the Empire, and then you sort of have to get a guerrilla group going and sort of strike back against them. This is a really good setting. It's a really good game. I really like the West End Games Star Wars D6 role-playing game. It's a great game. I think it's all re-released recently. Was one of my... Actually, funny story. It was the first role-playing game that I bought together with Vampire the Masquerade. I bought Vampire the Masquerade and the Star Wars D6 introduction box. I believe that's the first ones I got. Thank you very much for the comment. Aviad Sandon is asking, is there any information on the Kindred of Jerusalem or Israel? I believe that in the Beckett Jihad Diaries, there's some information, and I have not covered that area too well. But I do believe that that's a good place to start in terms of the lore, but they kind of left Jerusalem and Israel. The 90s, the aughts were a little bit... I mean, it's a difficult region to write about. Kind of lots of stuff happening there. So they're mentioned in Beckett's Jihad Diaries, and if anyone wants to add in the comments, if there's more content covering it, be my guest. I believe that generally that area was also sort of left vague because that's where supposedly a lot of the antediluvians in that general area might be hanging out. Like, I know the Malkavian antediluvian is sort of underneath Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken. That's one theory anyway, which is the cause of several suicides happening in the city. It's all in the Beckett's Jihad Diary book, so that's a good recommendation. Also, the lighting here is terrible, so there we go. Not sure that helped, but at least half of my face isn't in shadows. Sorry for the lack of green screen, by the way. It's in the mail. Onion Kid 99, Onion Kid, happy to see you again. Welcome back in a great video. Thank you very much. Very happy to see you in the comments. Little Black Mage avatar. You've been with me for a long time, so I'm very happy to see you here. Who's your favorite prince? Mine. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way. Sorry, Onion Kid. I really like Marcus Vitel. So that's probably my main fascination with the novels. I want to know more about what's going on with Marcus Vitel right now. If it's in the Sabbat books or anything, don't spoil it for me because I still haven't read them. Marcus Vitel is one of my favorite characters. My favorite prince, though, Alessio Rinaldi, the Peacock Prince from the clan book Malkavian. That's a good prince. I think Loden. I'm going to actually go on right and say I think Loden is probably my favorite prince. Loden to me exemplifies a lot of the good and bad aspects of sorry, I got like a notification here from work. Stop it! Stop! I'm working with something else. I'm on lunch break. Leave me alone. Loden is going to be my favorite prince for an answer. simply because I think he exemplifies the Ventrue Prince. He is the archetypical Camarilla Prince to me in many regards. I often kind of fall back on like, how is my prince? I need, like, when I make a prince, or when I made a prince for Stockholm, well, prince is difficult, but like, how are they different from Loden? Because for me, Loden, Chicago is such an early setting for Vampire the Masquerade that I believe that the core, like, you had Modius and you had Loden, right? And they were both princes, and they are sort of the archetypical Camarilla Prince in that regard, because they are the first ones created, basically. There's better princes out there. There's more fleshed out princes, but I think it stands as a testament to how good Loden is in terms of being a prince, that he's still around in 5th edition. They can't get rid of him because he's such an iconic guy. Terrible person, horrible person, but that's why I like him. He's a good villain. He's a good foil. It's not even really a villain. He's just like a very good example of how a Camarilla Prince can act. I like Queen Mary as well. Hold on. Mary the Black. That's Mary. No, I am completely wrong. I meant, of course, the. Oh God, what's her name? See, I've been out of the game for so long. Prince of London, VTM. Now you're getting a not Mithras. Fuck you, Mithras. I don't like Mithras. London. There we go. Cardiff. Not Cardiff. London. Marcus Varus, Roger de Camden, Valerius, Anne. Queen Anne. That's the one I was thinking of. Queen Anne Bowsley. That's another prince I enjoy, clearly, because I don't even remember her name. Embarrassing, but there we go. Let's keep going with the comments, though. Thank you again, Onion Kid. Thank you for dropping by. Lightweaver 18. This is particularly relevant to a campaign I am running now, as I have to decide what a prince wills. So and to my players. Thank you. Thank you, Lightweaver. Look forward to the upcoming couple of weeks, because I will be releasing many more videos on princedom. I wrote the script for the Prince video a while back, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So it's kind of a very shallow video in terms of like what princes actually do, what kind of power they have, what sort of source of influence they might have. Okay, very cool, Victor, laying down on my keyboard. He's a very big cat. I will talk a little bit more about how different clans might use different aspects of the city to their advantage should they be princes. My goal is to have like maybe 2 or 3 different princes per video for each clan, and be like, all right, so this kind of prince for Nosferatu would maybe act this way, like, So it's going to be much more pinpointed on that one. Once we're done with princes, we'll talk a little bit more about Primogen and Sheriff and stuff like that. Thank you very much, and good luck with your campaign. Chibi Prussia, Italia. It's been a while since I saw that. No mention of Vanivar. Vanivar Thomas is great. He's your favorite. I like Vanivar Thomas as well. I actually haven't read San Francisco by Night. Have it right here. I think I thumbed through it a couple of times, but I never really got to doing San Francisco content. But of course, I've seen LA by Night. Excellent performance. Vanivar Thomas is one of my favorite characters in that show, actually. I don't think it's a very clever thing to say that I realized he was being manipulated in the beginning when he was introduced. But I think the role playing was great. I think the whole arc was really interesting. So Vanivar Thomas, I didn't mention him because I picked 3 different princes who kind of work differently. Because I like to compare Lacroix to Loden, because Loden has that kind of big dick energy that Lacroix is missing. Lacroix comes off as a child a lot of times. He comes off to me as a spoiled kind of brat who believes that his age is the only authority he needs, which of course is quite in contrast to Loden, who's much younger than Lacroix. Loden is only from the 1800s, and even so, I still think he strikes as a more confident, more alpha kind of prince compared to Lacroix, who's more used to just pushing people around, and like he's good at manipulating, and good at like compromises, and kind of good at thinking on his feet. But Lodin definitely gives off more like a classic elder vampire. Ironic because he's younger. And that's why I picked those two princes for this video, because they were just different. If I had more time and space, I might have mentioned Vanimar Thomas, but Vanimar Thomas is not a very detailed character in terms of how he's a very good example of how to not be a Camarilla prince, I guess, for LA by Night, because he's just bonkers. None of his decisions make any sense most of the time. Thank you so much, Chibi Prussia. So, Mehek Kanolkar was just working on my very first campaign. Awesome. Paris by Night. It's a good setting. If you're familiar with the city, there's so much stuff you can do with Paris. After playing Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines for the millionth time, it's a good game. I love the whole VTM universe. These videos are amazing. Thank you so much for making these. Also, by the way, I will, of course, love and like each of your comments, because that's how I roll. There we go. The videos are amazing. Thank you so much for making these. Thank you so much, Mehek, for coming by. Good luck with your Chronicle. I would love to hear more about it, how it's going. Don't spoil it for your players, though, if they're also watching my videos. But Paris, great setting, great city. Wise Geek. I don't know if he's canon, but a fairly new prince that I found interesting is Prince Leto Tucson, Arizona, from the visual novel game Night Road. Very cool prince. Still haven't finished Night Road. Despite my best attempts, still haven't finished it. Prince Leto is really good, very good. Interesting choice for clan as well, which I think goes to show that a lot of times you can just you really shouldn't think about clan first. You think about personality first. The videos I will be making will be more focused on clan stereotypes, in the sense that they will be at least vaguely connected. We'll see. I'm trying to think of like different approaches for each clan. Dull but bad. Loudest autistic bullshit. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed. I even went to go look for it. So, up to you how you feel about it. But you're not getting a like. Sorry, buddy. Great to see another video. Another one to help new players grasp concepts. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah, I just think calling things autistic. There's better words you can use, like nerdy, obsessive, I don't know. Autistic is kind of weird. It's like not being autistic, but like using that term. Anyway, great to see another video, another one to help new players grasp concept. Can't wait for the next one. Thank you, Matt D. Very happy that you liked it. Wolf Boy, you've been around for a while as well. I made a KTIF in a V20 campaign. It's been a few sessions and it's been fun so far. Very happy to hear. KTIFs, despite my personal preferences, I don't like Thin Bloods or KTIFs. I'm very happy that you can play some V20. And KTIFs, I feel like they have a lot of potential in terms of like what you can do with them. So it really depends on which city you're in. And I think any storyteller should definitely give some time to think about how KTIFs are treated in their city, because that can definitely differ from place to place. Another one for Wolfboy. Hope we get videos on how to play KTIFs and Thin Bloods soon. Still haven't done those. I did a video on KTIFs, I believe. A Thin Blood video a while back. It's been a while. But there should be one coming once I finished with the 13 clans. I also still haven't done the Bloodlines, so that's something I had to do as well. And the Dark Ages as well. Cappadocians and the ever illustrious Salubri have to be covered as well. Happy to see you again, Ajo! Happy to see you too. Thank you so much. Very happy to be back. Hope I can keep it up this time. James Paul. Do I read the Vampire the Masquerade comic series? It's really good, and I'm very new to the World of Darkness. I have read the first 2 issues, I think. Like them a lot, but like with a lot of different things that I enjoy, I just don't have the time to do everything, and it just kind of goes out of my brain, and I forget about it. But thank you for the reminder. I'll go read them again. I can strongly recommend them. First of all, Minnesota is a great state to run a game in. The Twin Cities, right? Minneapolis and St. Louis? That's not there. My American geography skills are a little bit limited. But it's a great series, great comic. Very true to canon as well. Like, very true to the lore. Cartoon Freak. The way you talk about the conflicts here between werewolves and the modern day sounds... Oh, this is on my W5 thoughts. Very excited to hear any kind of news if there's anything coming in terms of werewolf, because I really want to see if they're actually going to use it. Well, not use any of my ideas. That's being cocky, but like if my ideas are on the right track. And the Monday sounds incredibly similar to how the struggle against megacorps and capitalism are played out in cyberpunk media. Yes, absolutely, I agree. That's I would argue that Werewolf is the best suited game for a cyberpunk kind of game. Mage being a close second, but Werewolf definitely the best game for a cyberpunk game. I think the idea that the humans are just being strung along, not in terms of aesthetics, but more in terms of like political themes, strung along by some old god is pretty bad, I agree, because it's not like it's in our best interest to pollute the world either, and the pollution isn't universal. Some guy living in a hut isn't as culpable as an oil CEO, but it looks like they are. Yeah, it's presented, it's kind of like humanity as a whole instead of like built-in organization. I would argue that our way of life is contributing to it, absolutely. But at some point, you also got to ask yourself, like, how many options do I actually have in my way of life? Let's not get into that. Also, even back then, the idea that absolutely everyone would be turned off by the idea of a big hulking wolfman is kind of laughable. If a real-life werewolf showed up, blew up a pipeline, I think a lot of people would be down, also furries. Yeah, I definitely think there'd be people out there who wanna bang a werewolf. No shame. I ain't shaming that one. I ain't king shaming. But the idea is that werewolves have this innate kind of... It's not really because of how they look. It's about the fact that they've murdered a lot of humans in the past. And that just kind of left an echo in the... It's like how people are scared of snakes. Like how we're apparently genetically coded to be scared of snakes. I don't know how that works. I'm not a scientist. But apparently we're supposed to be scared of things that look like snakes. And cats too. If you put out a cucumber, most cats with more brains than my cats would probably be scared of it, like have a reaction to it. Look it up. Cucumber cat online. Lots of fun videos. Zetrent is saying, I don't get it. We all make magic, but if action equals magic as an outcome, why would it not work for others? If waving your arms and saying woobity woo makes fire appear, why doesn't that work for anyone but me? Alright, so not to get too into the mage lore here, and I'm sure there's people who can explain this better than me. It's not really the fact that you do woobity woo. That's not what's giving you the power to do magic. It's the fact that you believe, you're absolutely 100% convinced that you understand how the world works, or at least you have an understanding of how to figure out how the world works. It's like you're a dogmatic. You have this very, very clear idea in front of you. You're like a genius in terms of like how you can perceive the world. And that conviction is what makes you into a mage. It's awakening is kind of a weird process, but basically it is because you know how the world works that you also know how to change the world. If you believe that all you have to do is to woobity woo and you will cast spells, then you will probably be on the level of sanity where you think that why isn't everyone doing this? But let's say, for example, that you're from Order of Hermes and you're convinced that it's all about creating these very complicated glyphs and magical circles and doing these specific rites and summoning these specific spirits to change nature. That works for you as well. If you believe that you can see the future by looking into the guts of a bird you've killed, that's how your magic works. So it's not really the actions itself, it's that your ideas justify your actions. It's that you're convinced that this is how magic works. Which is why it's very difficult for, very difficult for mages to cooperate. I think having mages with vastly different perspectives on the world is just going to make it rife with conflict, because mages are kind of self-absorbed assholes, and what they think is the way the world works is how the world is going to work for them. So I think this is a big problem for people playing Mage, because at some point you have to either just completely abandon the idea that you have to kind of not have discussions about this, because okay, you know what, I can't really explain it here, but basically not everyone can cast magic. I'm not entirely sure how the awakening process works. Anyone can awaken apparently, but it's more that your power, your innate power, is channeled through these actions. It's kind of like when you're drawing. If you're doing art, there are certain schools of doing art and certain ways of doing art. But in reality, you can do art however you want. Like if you wanna use colored paper and just cut out the parts and just build layers of colored paper on top of each other to create a painting. If you want to recreate the Mona Lisa just using colored paper, you can theoretically do that. I mean, you can practically do that as well. And that is one way of doing magic. I think that's probably the best comparison I've thought of. It's art. Art and how you perform art is extremely personal. Everyone does art differently. You can learn from others, but it's your way of doing art that works for you. Right, so let's keep going. I've been doing this for 25 minutes. Morpheus is a marauder. Now go watch The Matrix again for true gnosis. I agree. The Matrix is probably one of the best videos or movies you can see out there if you want to get into Mage, especially the technocracy. It's very cool. That's basically kind of leaning into the whole idea that belief is power, but in that sense, it's more like there are still rules. You can just bend the rules. You can't really break them. This is a fun comment, CR92 of Gary Finlay. Sorry, by the way. Thank you so much. Zertrent. Thank you so much. And CR92. I like this comment because there's a Loki reference apparently in here. I have never seen Loki. So I know who Loki is. I've seen the Marvel movies. I'm not sure if I put in a Loki reference. This video is really old. Shout out again to everyone who has been supporting me and for the people who tuned in. But yeah, I don't remember putting in a Loki reference in this video. Let me actually check it out. See if I can find out. No, I don't actually have time for that, but I'll have to look at it again. If I put in a local reference, it was most likely not on purpose. But thank you very much for the comment, and shout out to B. Dave Walter for joining me for that video as well. I really appreciate it. Mortis, I answered your question before, but I'll cover it again. I honestly didn't think they'd canonize the fledgling from Bloodlines. Figured the game wouldn't be canon or lore really cool for them to be mentioned. This is, I answered this a little bit previously, and you can read my answer there. But the fledgling is mentioned here in the Beckett's Jihad Diary, which is the V20 book released by the Onyx Path right before V5 was released. And it's supposed to both, in a sense, tie V20 and Revised Edition together with V5. But even more, it's supposed to give you it's supposed to tie in all the meta plot, basically, because V5, as you might have known, is very, very light on the meta plot. So Beckett's Jihad Diary is basically the sum of all the meta plot threads that have been created for Vampire the Masquerade, amongst one of them, of course, being Bloodlines. It's not officially canon that the neonate or fledgling is canon, I think. Because Beckett's Jihad Diary in itself is not strictly speaking canon, because it has a bunch of different scenarios playing out. So I do believe it's canon, but I'm not 100% sure. Also gonna like your reply here. Bambi, thank you so much for checking in. This Patreon update video, thank you so much, Bambi. I'm glad you like the seminars as well. And Huddy, happy to wet your teeth anytime. Love you so much, darling. I love you too, Huddy. Thank you so much. This is something my Patreons get to see. I post weekly update videos. I started doing that last week. And now every Monday, I try to have a update video on the progress of my other stuff going on. Just to get into the habit of making content, basically, again. So I talked for quite a bit, January 24th, about like my future plans. And I thanked a lot of my patrons for still being there for me, despite the absolute despicable lack of content for 2021 and January 2022. So let's keep going with the King Hydra. for the video on Artifacts of Legend, which is a video that was really fun to make. Covered a lot of different artifacts in the Vampire the Masquerade setting. We managed to find the Eye of Hazamel in our campaign, and while our Tremere and Torador were arguing who would get with me, who would get it with me, a Broha trying to calm them down, Broha trying to calm someone down, great. The Gangrel just strolled into the room and ate it. Good decision. That thing is cursed, shouldn't have it. It just causes problems for people. Whirling. Oh, thank you so much to King, by the way. Whirling, thank you for the comment. I always found them more terrifying than the actual monsters in the World of Darkness. Think about it. They want to turn the World of Darkness into ours. Yes and no. I agree. They want to make things mundane. But you also got to remember that in the World of Darkness, it's still a dark and terrible world. It's just got vampires in it. So the World of Darkness is still way worse in terms of how things are than in our world. So I would actually argue I kind of enjoy the technocracy's idea that they want to empower humanity. Not so much a fan of the fact that they want to be the leaders of humanity. But there you are. Dampiers are ghouls. Puma Fist. Sure. I don't think they are. They have specific rules for it themselves. But they have specific rules. I don't think Dampiers are canon anymore in Vampire the Masquerade. I think Thin Bloods are just kind of taking over that area. But they're not ghouls. They might function similar to ghouls. I'm not entirely sure on the rules, but they're not ghouls in terms of canon, as far as I know. Jacobs, you also, if you have evidence saying that I'm wrong, absolutely provide it. I would love to be corrected on that point. Jacob Steele, hey, new subscriber here. Thank you so much for the follow. And I have to say I've been loving your content. I was wondering if you could do a series exploring Mummy the Resurrection. Have always wanted to learn more about it, and I love your lore videos because they are so vivid and clear, and they do a fantastic job at hitting the important notes for each game. Thank you very, very much, Jacob. Hope you catch this video. Sorry I didn't reply to you before. Thank you so much. Mummy the Resurrection. A lot of people ask for Mummy content. If I don't know anything about... see here. If I don't know jack about Hunter the Reckoning, let's say Hunter the Reckoning for shits and giggles, I know even less about Mummy the Resurrection. And I have to say, I have to stand firm with my principles. Not a fan. Not a fan of Mummy in general. I never really clicked with me. I don't think they're cool. and they also seem... Is Resurrection, is that Onyx Path? Because if it's Onyx Path, then that's fine. But like old World of Darkness mummies just kind of felt superfluous. Also, apparently you could be a were-llama in that game. Look it up. It was pretty crazy. Thank you, Jacob, though. At some point in the future, I'm sure I'll be covering Mummy as well. Shame you decided to not continue this series. TNN, Taro, Net News Network. I agree. This is about my D&D series, the Planescape videos. I talked a little bit about this in my update video with my patrons, but I'll talk about it here as well. Part of the reason I kind of fell off the wagon in terms of making content, no, that's not the expression you should be using, but it's what I'm using right now, is because I was trying to kind of branch out and make some other stuff. The problem is that at this point, I think this video has like 600 views, and it's been out for several months. Yesterday's video that I uploaded, when I checked this morning, had over 1,000 views. And the amount of work that went into making my Planescape videos, in terms of research, in terms of like getting the art out, because there is no art collection archive of Planescape anywhere online. Most, if not all, the art you're seeing in my videos, I actually went through the PDFs and ripped myself and photoshopped away most of the text, which is why the quality might be kind of crappy at times. I have the books on the other side of the bookshelf here. I bought a lot of books. I was ready to do Planescape stuff, and it kind of just broke me, which I didn't think it would. But the mist, by the way, here is a humidifier because it's super dry in my apartment. In case you're wondering, that's also why my throat is not doing super great. But yeah, big reason that I stopped doing the D&D videos is because it just kind of took the air out of me. I'll just mention, like, yeah, so I look at numbers. I don't think there's any content creator that doesn't look at their numbers, and how you act on those numbers is really what makes it different. And for me, I was seeing a steady growth. I was getting a lot of views on a lot of stuff, and anytime I kind of branched out into something slightly less popular, actually, I mean, Planescape is super popular, and D&D is huge. I didn't quite get the response I thought I would, and that sort of just made me a little sad first. But now I have gone through all the 5 stages of grief, and I am just at terms with the fact that I'm a Vampire the Masquerade and World of Darkness channel. That's the content I'm making. I have created a separate channel where I will be doing Final Fantasy XIV lore videos, just dropping that one here. Poof, drop. So which is why I'm also currently in the process of playing through the MSQ, the main story quests. I'm roughly halfway through A Realm Reborn, recording all the quests that I'm doing, all the dialogue and stuff, because I want to make lore videos on Final Fantasy XIV. It's a cool game. I feel like my kind of formula for making lore videos might work, and I love the books that they released on the world, so there's plenty of content to pick from. So that's happening on a separate channel, which is called the Eorzean Journal. So once I get live with content there, I'll post a link to it, but since there's no content yet, there's no point. Sorry, get cat hair on my nose. Every time I'm here, this little fucker just like a cloud of fur. Right, Derek Haggard. I'm about to do my first Chronicle campaign in years called Rage in California. Cool. And it's centered around an old and powerful Wendigo sept that serves as a sanctuary for all tribes, as the branch of the Wendigo that owns the sept actually goes against the xenophobic extremist stereotype associated with the Wendigo, and how the sept is now under threat from the Wyrm, and how it's up to a pack of Garou, including my character, to defend it. The last time I did a Chronicle campaign was during Werewolf the Apocalypse 2nd edition, many years ago. Derek, this sounds really cool. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that California is not covered a lot in Werewolf. I believe that I think California is one of those places that doesn't have a lot of coverage in Werewolf compared to like sorry, I think the music stopped. Oh, there we go. Start again. So that sounds cool. Dennis, Derek. Sorry, not Dennis. I said Dennis. Good luck with that, and keep me posted on how it's going. Your second question is here as well. Derek Haggard. When I played Werewolf the Apocalypse 2nd edition, we had it in my Fianna's character's backstory that before her first change, she encountered a red wolf for several days who seemed to be very familiar and friendly with her, hinting this was her father. Basically, my character was a Hobbit breed whose mother was a human, and her father was a Lupus breed Garou. Interesting. That's pretty cool. Human Lupus breed Garou. I think this is one of the things that I know Huddy especially dislikes about Werewolf. Human wolf mating. It's really just right on the edge of like, is this really okay? Like, Lupus-born Garous are, of course, sentient. They are not wolves. They are werewolves. They're Garou. But they spend a couple of years being wolves. So that's a really cool thing. In terms of like how you're that having a wolf following you around and being nice. But I think that's also one of the things I'm kind of like iffy about in terms of Werewolf. And you can't really like overlook the fact that a lot of the game is about like breeding and procreation and like keeping your species alive, and it kind of doesn't jive with me a lot. I really don't think I brought that up during my W5 video, because I think it's more like a personal preference thing, and I think at this point it's hard to separate the two, but it's kind of weird. I do agree in oh, thank you, by the way, Derek. I do agree in every single point. Brilliant analysis. Easy likes. There you go. Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. This video, my W5 thoughts, was something I was actually very concerned about when I was going to release it, because I was expecting a lot of blowback in terms of like, no, you shouldn't do this. This is against the lore, so on. But most, if not all, the responses have been positive. So let's hope that someone in World of Darkness is listening. Also, if someone in World of Darkness is listening, I don't think you should have changed your name, because it's weird to say World of Darkness when that's the name of the setting. You could have called yourself the Camarilla, the Ivory Tower. Although that has a lot of negative connotations, but World of Darkness doesn't really roll off the tongue in terms of a company. Whatever, not my decision. It's ironic that in spite of having a very creepy appearance, the Drakon, seems to be one of the most nicest Tzimisce out there. You are correct. I like this character, and I'm sad that there's not more content on the Drakon. Although the Drakon and the whole thing with Sasha Vikos, iffy, kind of rapey. Although I don't think that was the Drakon's fault, though, to be honest, if I recall. It's ironic that in spite of having Stefan, the old Sabbat stuff comparatively really show. Oh, no. Sorry, you ain't getting a heart from me, Stefan. Look, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this argument. V5 isn't shit. It's a different take. I will stand by this. If I want to go back and read the old lore books, that's fine. Barely anything in the old editions are retconned. Just how the story ended with the whole blood plague and stuff, they got rid of that. And that was more like a novel thing anyway. That was barely a thing in the games. Very, very little of the old books have been made superfluous or retconned. And I think that despite having a shaky launch, I think V5 is making out to be a really good game. My only concern with V5 is that what are they going to release? Because obviously, and I think I've talked about this before, but in this day and age, releasing setting books or clan books is probably not a good investment. You won't get your money back from those because the other books are still there. It's irrelevant. So what are you left with releasing? And World of Darkness, if you're listening, release eras. 1700s vampire, 1500s vampire. There you go. Ancient Rome. That's the way to go. Release time periods. 80s. Release a book for the 80s. Great stuff. You can expand upon the lore, so you can still go back and be like, all right, we have a general idea what happened. Let's go further into it. There's plenty of lore to work with, and you're not like limited to recreating old content, which is sort of what you're doing right now. You're updating your information about the Inquisition. You're updating your information about the Sabbat. Which, make era books. It's more research, sure. You gotta talk about time periods and how people dress and act and stuff like that. But I think that might actually work. I don't know. Let's see here. You forgot about the realms between the Penumbra and the Deep Umbra, also called the Middle Umbra. For example, Battleground, the Cyber Realm, Pangaea, the Abyss, and more. Even the Dreaming and the Underworld has very hard to find entrances in the Middle Umbra. Amber, you're absolutely right. This was the introduction to the lore, however, and I only have so many words to use when I'm making my videos. I have a hard limit of 2,000 words for the lore videos. Well, in the ballpark of 2,000 words. So when I made this, I'm not sure how long this is. I don't think this was before the pre. Is this like a 10-minute video? All these 10-minute videos? Because if it is, then definitely not enough space for it there. Sorry. Sometimes you just gotta cut stuff. Lasombra video. Fujin Raijin. Cool name. Final Fantasy 8. I like it. Now I understand why the Lasombra love Bruce Lee. Be like water, my friend. The adaptability and Darwinist mindset of the clan is very akin to the nature of water. So it's no wonder why they love it and the sea so much. I never saw that connection, but it makes perfect sense. They move and operate like this element of nature. They take whatever form they need to, act in whatever way is necessary for the situation, in order to survive, in order to rise, and in order to gain ultimate victory. Makes perfect sense. They personify water so well, dark and deep water at that. You are 100% correct. Water is adaptable, that's why they joined the Camarilla. Exoplanet, music producer. I'm going to assume Exoplanet that you are, I don't even know what these timestamps are, either music or like pictures you enjoy. Glad you like him though. You have to be super brainwashed where you had like that, right? I think that's like a picture of someone playing a Black Dog game or something. Not quite sure, I don't remember. Fire Orb 2, look forward to see more of your work. Thank you very, very much. Looking forward to making more work. Got over 150 videos now, I think. Junk Bucket, Good to see you posting again, my friend. Hopefully 2022 will be a better year for us all. Can't wait for more videos. Me neither. Can't wait to make more videos. Videos. Ricardo Penamacnite. As someone who devotes a lot of personal time and study for real-world concepts of magic and the occult across cultures, I would think the important distinction between demon and angel is that demons are closer to the powers of the earth and the manifested world. You're talking some kabbalah stuff here, thus being able to offer things like power, riches, and other rewards in this life. Higher spirits, of course, find this lower world to be anathema to their nature and are basically only called upon, if at all, to help raise people up from this world to a level of sainthood. A concept like this appears in many cultures and beliefs. In Jewish mysticism, there are the four worlds and the low. Oh my god. Okay. Got 15 minutes left. In Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, there are four worlds, and the lowest of these, the world of action, has the most lie mixed with truth, and thus the spirits on that level are the darkest, because they are the most distorted from their true nature. Plus, I've seen the idea pushed around a lot that spiritual beings gain power from mortal worship, and I guess that makes sense here, because this is the same universe as Mage, basically. Yeah, that's true. That said, yeah, mortal worship is how demons gain power. That said, in the past, offerings were made to empower idols that had been implanted in idols using hekau, seed mantras, and other versions of the concept of words of power. Food offerings such as animal sacrifices were used to empower the spirit's connection to the idol, which would sort of act as a focal point for the power of that spirit and its influence on the surrounding world. The concept is discussed heavily in The Secrets of the Magical Grimoires by Aaron Leicht, who I find really tends to know his stuff. Alright. Oh, here we go. If I were to redo demon. Thank you. First of all, yes, I think you're talking about good stuff here. I think, unfortunately, Demon the Fallen, unlike Mage, didn't do its research properly when it was being written. I think Demon the Fallen is not... Demon the Fallen is not a good game. It only relies on Christian and Jewish iconography and occultism in the sense that it borrows some words and concepts, but it doesn't really get them. I would argue that Mage is much, much better at this stuff, because the people who wrote that stuff actually were really into that. If I were to redo Demon, I would scrap the idea that there is a concrete backstory at all, per se. I agree with you. The backstory would be more abstract and metaphysical. As creation formed the denser and more concrete levels of reality, the spiritual forces of the lowest layers closest to physical creation, the level of the greatest Maya, illusion, ruh, evil lie of mortality, havel, smoke or vanity, vexation, and dead matter had their nature corrupted by proximity to this lowest level of creation. When these forces are called upon to provide material rewards, they gain a sort of consciousness and identity, but that identity is informed by their nature as lower forces on the level of dead matter, which veils the true nature of the world, so when they try to explain what they are and how they came to be in terms humans can understand, they tend to tell stories about fallen angels who rebelled against the creators and monsters created by the great dragon Tiamat, because concepts like falling, rebelling against spirits, and dragons are the closest analogies they have to convey their fearful nature relative to higher spirits. Kind of like the spirit world of Dragon Age. Kind of. I agree. I think that items kind of are. I think spirits are kind of defined by how we perceive them, I suppose. Actually, I would kind of like chaos in 40k as well. Actually, I would subdivide these lower spirits into those closer to beasts, deaths, and the earth itself, which are the demons proper, and at the lower end can manifest personalities that are quite violent and evil, versus those who represent the spirit of nations, of emotions like love and abstract concepts like war, etc. These are the devils, diabolos, those who divide or throw apart. This second class are not always what we would recognize as evil per se, often being held as gods, particularly by early agrarian cultures and societies. While not evil, the devils often represent precisely the categories by which the world is divided into various nations and professions and identities. They too can often manifest as deceivers, and particularly the spirits or devils over corrupt societies can become more evil than any demon and even lord over many hosts of demons. The players play as individuals who, either because of possession or invocation rituals, have been more or less replaced by these spiritual entities of the lower level illusory reality. They often don't immediately understand who or what they are right away, as the nature of the spirit attempts to reconcile itself with a newly acquired human mind, which feebly attempts to translate spiritual natures and instincts into concrete thoughts and actions. you are 100% on track. This is what I wanted with Demon as well. I wanted it to be vague. When I was talking about like neighborhood gods and like ancient beings who don't have an idea of what happened, this is kind of what I was thinking about as well, like just spirits. This, however, I think a big reason why it's not like this is because this is way too similar to Fomori, and basically humans being possessed by spirits in Werewolf. I don't know if you're familiar with Werewolf, but this is literally what that is. For those possessed by demons, they often lean towards bestial, violent, cruel, and sadistic, as the raging force of insensate matter is more a creature of urge and instinct. Those who have invoked a deity devil can be more refined, though their first instinct is to usually attempt to hide their new identity and convince friends and family that no change has taken place. Buddy, commas, please, for real, your sentences are way too long. I love it, but you need to... More commas. Well, you have commas up here, so never mind. But shorten your sentences. Shorten your paragraphs. They then tend to pursue goals according to their nature. Sorry, there's another comma. For instance, the spirit of hearth and home may try to get a couple on the brink of divorce to reconcile their relationship. They tend to come into conflict with emissaries of the divine who, attempting to rescue humanity ever since the manifestation of the lower reality after the fall, where the demons and right, here we go. Where the demons and devils tend to want to get people to embrace their lower nature. They tend to come into conflict with emissaries of the divine who... Okay, yeah. They decipher earthly over heavenly rewards and their base urges. Very, very long sentence. Thus, since the player's characters inhabit human bodies, they are able to choose whether to embrace their demonic and diabolic nature and pursue earthly rewards, or gain new insight from their experiences having a human mind and seek to reconcile the lower world with a higher and ascend to a more spiritual, higher reward. I would split this sentence into 2. Maybe even 3 sentences. Still though, being petty aside, I think this is a really good text, Ricardo. Thank you for the sub, and thank you for this very insightful commentary. I 100% agree with you. This is the path I would have taken with Demon to Fallen. I would have relied a lot on Christian iconography anyway, because like you said, the human mind is trying to make sense of it, and you could easily resolve it by, well, I mean, evil spirits, in essence, depending on where you are. But in Christian countries, demons, devils, obviously. But in Hindu nations or Buddhist nations, it would be different things, of course. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Looking forward to making more content as well. Gangrel44, thank you so much, and welcome back. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me back. We have 7 more minutes to go. Very cool. Love this clan. Davlavi. Thank you. I like Malkavians as well. This was a long time ago I made this. If I recall, I basically made the entire Malkavian video just happen. And in the second part, I just played it backwards. So, I remember I sent the second video to Outstar. That's how old this video was, because that was when she was still making YouTube content before she started working for World of Darkness. And she was like, I think there's weirdly synced stuff going on. I was like, yeah, I'm playing it backwards. Because I think it's a little too subtle. Fen, I fucking love how you portrayed a Malkavian, especially since I literally talk and act just like the character you made portrayed in the beginning with you, were literally like only at most 5% more exaggerated version of me. Okay. Honestly, if I were in the universe of Vampire the Masquerade, I would fucking be a damn Malkavian. Like, other people might find some amount of difficulty in figuring out which clan they'd be, but for me, it's like instantaneous fucking thing of instantly knowing I'd be Malkavian. Cool. Glad I was able to capture the spirit of Malkavians. I actually find Malkavians to be one of the hardest clans to play, personally. One of the ones I shy away from because I always feel like I can't really do them justice. So happy that you think I did a good job with Malkavians. Straw Hat Overlord, One Piece, respect. Correction. As far as I know, only Desire is allowed to diabolize the target of a blood hunt. Here we go. As far as I know, this thing here, all my videos should be prefaced by as far as I know, to the best of my recollection. Allowed to diabolize the target of a blood hunt. I think this is standard practice, yes. If someone else does it, they can be excused if the target was a particularly bad offender, but it's not formally permitted. I do believe a prince can formally permit diablerie. I don't recall where I read that, but it's one of those old truisms that I've kind of integrated into my way of perceiving vampires. So it's quite possible it's not actually canon, and I just heard that somewhere. I have to look it up. David Hoover actually found something similar to Garou versus Fomor fight in Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode Beauty and the Beast. Cool, David Hoover. I have never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Never watched it. Half an episode. I've seen half an episode. Didn't really vibe with me, but that's cool. Garou versus Fomor fight in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'll have to Google YouTube that and see if I can find a fight. I wonder how they deal with changelings. Arnold Tabor. Good question. Changelings tend to be the most isolated, one of the most isolated creatures of the world of darkness. Tend to not involve themselves with others. But City Garou, it's quite possible they might know a changeling or two. I don't recall if they can even perceive changelings as their true nature. I'm not sure. Already, by the way, just talking less than an hour, already I feel my throat kind of acting up, so good thing I only scheduled this for an hour. I have this vision, like a mandala. It changes patterns like fractals, and it is magnificent. I know I must make it, mostly hues of red, crimson, and black and yellow, blue, bile, and white bone. I add to it, sometimes I see someone who fit the mandala, and I just know they'd want to be a part of it. If they saw it like I do. It has been a decade in the making. It shows me things. It might be alive, as much as I am at least. Sometimes I despair, for I think I might never finish it. So beautiful, my Malkavian mandala. Right. In case you are not actually role-playing a Malkavian, which I'm hoping you are. Get help, buddy. No, that's mean, but like, don't take the game too seriously. It's just a game. Don't get too involved. I'm gonna say this to the other guy. Talked about Malkavians as well. It's just a game. Don't get too sucked into it. Tamara Bloodhoof, cool name. So I've been into World of Darkness for a while and been looking into the stories and the mythos to try to understand it all. I found your channel while looking for Exalted, and well, you have a new subscriber. Thank you very much, Tamara Bloodhoof. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you very much for these introduction videos. They have seriously helped me understand so much more than I thought possible in just a small bit of time, and I hope to travel with you through all your videos from here on. It's a very, very sweet comment. Thank you. That's exactly what I hope to do with my videos. I think also a big reason why I kind of fell out of making videos was that I was like, I've covered so much already. I don't even know what I haven't covered anymore. So if there's stuff that I haven't covered, tell me. I can do videos on those as well, like Thin Bloods. I think I still covered those though. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. Same comment. So yeah, thank you very much for these introduction videos, Tamara. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for a lot of these really nice comments. Thank you. Thank you for boosting the algorithms as well. As we all know, Susan, you evil person, you with your algorithms. I don't even know how to properly push a video anymore. It used to be that the first 3 tags you used, if they were in the title of the video and in the description, that helped boost your algorithm. And then Susan realized that, oh, people are actually exploiting this. We gotta change it up. And now I have no idea how to get your videos out there. Arnold Tabor again. You were asking about how the City Garou would deal with changelings, right? Is it me who wants to play a changeling born into a fucked up kinfolk family where half the kids are born mortal, but actually you have 2 that go missing, becoming fae and vampires, and the third becoming a mage, while the third regular kids are 2 lupines and a kinfolk, your dad being a homid and your mom being a regular kinfolk, who agree you'll attend regular high school till you pass your test. Periods, please. Then all 3 come back, and then dad goes batshit, a bloodsucker and a dream dancer and a weaver. Could just imagine playing the fae and trying to make everyone have a relaxed conversation, then turning into Jack Sparrow as things just get thrown at you. Where are you jumping, Bobby? He's a very nervous kitty. Hi, Arnold. Sounds cool. Could be a cool TV series. Would be very light on the World of Darkness aspect of it, though. And the odds of this happening would be quite insane. I have heard people who play... I follow the classic Ghostbusters adage of never mix splats. Oops, sorry, that's my cat on the keyboard. But if you want to do it, then why not do it in style? So go ahead and try it and let me know how that works. Joshua X17, you want to know what the fucked up thing is? I've identified as both Jesus and Cain before I heard anything about this. I'm so mind fucked right now, it's not even funny. Dude, might wanna get that looked at. That's not healthy for you. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. I don't even know where to start. Yolyapar. Can you make a Toreador programmer who loves coding because he or she sees it as an art form and has a passion for it? It wouldn't be nonsense, right? Because the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm thinking of a hacker Toreador character like that. Would it be viable? I answered this one, and I will just reaffirm again that yes, absolutely. Programmer Toreador sounds like a great character. I would love to see that being played. I think in general, one of the aspects of being human is being able to see art in literally everything. So go buck wild. Do whatever you want to. Arnold, we're going to do your last comment here, and then we're going to have to end because it's been an hour. I think I'd prefer to be a city gangrel over a regular, probably add an additional discipline, either animalism or celerity. Using the Greek gangrel route with a background being a Greek immigrant embraced me, and it turns out that they had a mortal family ghoul for the last 2,000 years or so. Essentially a Greek gangrel with an animalism, additional discipline, high generation, but relatively recently embraced, probably trying to make a territory as an autarch, but then choosing a side recently as, I don't know, some other Camarilla kept attacking people who live on the block. Okay, cool. Arnold, I'm gonna be a little bit of a dick here and say you told me nothing about your character. You just told me what powers they have. This is something. This is not a personal attack. I like your post, appreciate it, thank you very much. But Arnold, I say this a lot of times when I'm talking about this game, is that make your character first, add the powers later. Figure out what kind of a person you're playing, then you can start adding on vampire abilities and backgrounds and things like that. Because like this is just a bunch of stats and powers. That's not how I play. Although, no shame to people who want to play that way. I really am not the authority, and I'm not going to tell you how to play your game that you bought and enjoy. But personally, I always kind of think of clan last in terms of what I want to play. Except for Anthony on Huddy's game, where I was just like, I'm going to play Tsimish, however you want to pronounce it. And then I kind of built a character out of that, and be like, all right, he's a Sabbat, he's a former Sabbat, everything like that. So that's one of the few times I've started with a clan and then worked my way down. But that was because it was so appropriate, because the player's guide was just released with the Tzimitzi rules, so I just couldn't contain myself. I think we're gonna stop it here. You started playing Mage before Matrix movie. It blew your mind. Very cool. I agree. Mage. I think I encountered Mage before Matrix, but I never really drew the conclusion because I was never. Mage was really hard for me to get into when I was younger because it's high concept stuff. But I can definitely see how. I can kind of see how the Wachowskis might have actually borrowed stuff from Mage, or like they're in the same cultural hemisphere in terms of same cultural sphere in terms of like symbolism. But that's gonna be all for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's a long video, I know. I'll keep going where I was next time, I think. And until then, thank you all for following, for viewing, for supporting me. And if you want to get in on those Patreon exclusive videos where I'm basically just doing this, it's available for everyone who's donating $1 or above. My Patreon is linked on my front page, I think. If you got a higher tier, you have a little bit more available stuff. But in general, I've been trying to dial down some of the Patreon stuff I've been doing, because that's also been very draining and kind of made me feel split on whether I should prioritize my patrons on my channel. And now I'm trying to find a good middle ground. But that's about it. This is Chris the Primogen signing out. Thank you everyone for watching, and be careful out there, because Gehenna might soon be upon us.